What's going on, everyone, and welcome into another episode of Expected Bets. On today's episode, we'll be breaking down the slate for April 11th. Playoffs are just around the corner, and those wildcard races are heating up right now. But before we get into the games for today, let's bring in the rest of the crew. Betzky, do I even ask?
No, this, depending on what day you're watching, this is the day the Yotes bad news is starting to come out. So, not great. I guess we'll just see what happens at this point. The big thing, though, of like being a fan of this franchise for so long is the uncertainty we've had since, I don't know. I don't remember when there wasn't ownership, like since 2010 or 9.
Yeah, I was gonna say
it's
around
been
there.
like 15 years.
Yeah.
So there is something that's kind of nice knowing that like we're really at one or two things now. So I think it's either the auction happens, they wait to see if they get the auction, and the team stays, or it's Salt Lake. I don't think there's going to be some weird thing where the league's going to hope that Ishbia comes in and saves a day, or maybe we just let them play a mullet for one more year and see if a new owner comes along in that time frame. Like that's all done finally.
Yeah.
And we've had some crappy owners in the past. This one finally had money.
Yeah, it's a weird time for sure here. Franco, it's a downer episode, I guess, here today. Yeah.
Nails and coffins.
I know, really.
Yeah. The ship is sinking in Philly about as fast as it possibly can. And I mean, it's the reality. I don't think this team really had any business being in the playoffs, to be honest with you. I think the experience would have been nice for the young guys, but like, I don't know. They haven't looked very good for what has felt like a while at this point. So I never thought they would compete in the playoffs, regardless.
Yeah.
Even when they were playing well. So like, is it worth it? I guess, a lot of people say like it's worth getting that experience, but is it if you just lose 4-0 in a series and just get shown up and shown out essentially? I remember a few years ago they made it, and I didn't think they should have, and they played the Caps and they just got handled in that series. They didn't stand a chance. So I mean, I don't know. I get that argument, but for me, I want as many high draft picks as possible, and I mean now they can be a little bit closer to getting something that might be a startable NHL player in a couple of years. So that is better.
Yeah, the good news is they did cash their preseason total for points, listed at 74.5. So congrats to all those bettors out there. And to really top off the cherry on this Depression Sunday here, the Sabres have been eliminated from the playoffs for the past 13 seasons in a row here. Just, it's sad. It's all I'll leave it at. At this point, it's not even like, I mean, we had expectations this year, but still the youngest team. So I guess glass half full. That's all you really can do in Buffalo. Fill up another beer and top off that half glass full. So, all right. Let's get into the games for tomorrow here. We'll get to the games in a second, but first I want to talk to you about AG1. Taking care of your health isn't always easy, but it should at least be simple. That's why for the past 2 years I've been drinking AG1 every day, no exceptions. It's just one scoop mixed in water once a day, every day, and it makes me feel energized, focused, and ready to take on the day. That's because each serving of AG1 delivers my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre- and probiotics, and much more. It's a powerful, healthy habit that's also powerfully simple. I like to drink AG1 first thing in the morning, which is recommended for optimal nutrition absorption. I fill up my shaker with extra cold water, add 1 scoop of AG1, shake it up, and I'm ready to go. If I'm running short on time and can't mix my AG1 before heading out, I'll grab a travel pack. It's an individual serving of AG. If there's one product I had to recommend to elevate your health, it's AG1, and that's why I've partnered with them for so long. So if you want to take ownership of your health, start with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3+K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase at drinkag1.com/expectedbets. That's drinkag1.com/expected bets. Check it out. All right, now back to the show. Start here. Philly at the Rangers here. Philly's 2 points out of that wild card spot. They're still hanging on to life here, Franco. So we do have hope. New York is in the first of the Metro here and leading the President's Trophy race here, which has been a curse in the past few seasons. This New York team's interesting. I mean, we've seen them falter in the playoffs the past few seasons. So we'll see what happens again here. But I'll start with you here at Betzky. New York's a heavy favorite in this one, -218, over under set at 6 here. Any angles that you're looking at in this one?
Well, New York Rangers props right now have been awesome. I mean, Mika March has gone well into April. Yeah.
You
were just a little early.
April. Yeah.
You were just a little early, but that's good.
But it was like the last week and a half of March, and he is still red hot. I'm not going to shy away from him, even though Philly's pretty good against shots right now. A sneaky prop that I've been kind of taking is, and probably not, I should have been slamming it for a lot longer than I have been, or more confidently than I have been, is Trocheck assist. With both Panarin and Laff scoring again, it's feeling really consistent, and you get great value. It's like a +150, and he's starting to really kind of become more of like the playmaker on that line. Panarin definitely kind of slid out of being that shoot first guy he was at the start of the season, but he's starting to really have his attempts go way back up. He's scoring more again, and that's kind of making the Trocheck look an awesome play. This may be something Franco, but Kreider's been hot with the top line right now, so that's not something I'm going to back off on. His points kind of outside of like the straight bet area, unless you want to risk it and go goal, but it's still in that like -150, -160, where it's like getting a top line forward on the number 1 offense in the league, or number 2, I forget where they're at right now. And you're getting it at, not that -180, -220 type price range. So it's not a bad parlay piece. That's something I've been using quite frequently. Obviously, Zibanejad's kind of that same boat, but he's more in that -180 territory right now. I mean, you really toss me anything on the top 2 lines of the Rangers, and I like it pretty much.
Even Fox too,
and that's the next piece. Is Fox the price is still brilliant. He's a little bit better away. I got burned by him yesterday because I did have his assist, but he got a goal.
Me too.
So that is getting a little bit dicier than it ever has been with him in his career. But even his shots are great. At home, he's a little bit different. So I don't know if I'll go towards his shots against Philly per se. But, the exciting thing about the President's Trophy race is you get a great team that is still pushing at the end of the season if they haven't locked it up. So you're getting guys, because it's a quote unquote curse, but every single person on that team wants to win it. Why would they purposely not want to win, have the best record of the league?
But do they
remember that?
If you're the Rangers, right? Like, who's been, I would say they've been a top 10-ish team the last like 3 years or 4 years at this point, it feels like, right? And constantly in contention. I know they almost made it a couple of years ago, and they have the goaltending and they have depth now a little bit better than they've had probably in recent time. Like, do they really want the President's Trophy with all the kind of bad luck that they've had when it's come down to it in the playoffs and not being able to get over that hump? Like, I know it's stupid and silly for us to like talk about that, but like, it definitely is a thing. Like, and you got to be kind of thinking about it in the back of your head if you're them. Like, do we really want this? What's the point of this achievement?
With 3 games to go, though, you don't want to go into the playoffs 0-3, though.
Yeah. I know. I mean, it's not like you throw games. I'm just saying. Do they?
I don't think they care. It's something that they can remember for the rest of their lives. I was on a team that had the most regular season points.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a cool achievement.
Remember that.
If you win the cup, obviously that sucks, but you would always have that. Then at least you have something.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned a few props there. Zibanejad shots on goal too has just been fantastic as of late too, and you're still getting that at a fairly decent price here. It's starting to kind of creep into that minus 150, 160 range, given his trends in the past few games. But as of late in that 130, 140 range, I'll gladly lay it, given kind of the amount of volume he's had in the past few games here. Franco, looking at you, any looks in Philly, New York?
Yeah, I mean, the other one, I mean, you mentioned pretty much everybody. I would probably go the Kreider goal if I'm going to do anything with him. 6 goals and 12 against Philly. His last 12 against them, so that's pretty
kind
good.
of what I was. Yeah.
Not really getting assists, 1 assist in that stretch. So like if he's going to produce, it's going to be a goal. So, I would probably look at Panarin 2 points. That's been kind of picking up again too. Like I know in the beginning of the season, like you said, his shots were crazy, but so was his 2-point prop.
Yeah.
So that would probably be where I would look on there. And same for Zibanejad 2 points. I wouldn't mind going there as well. He's another guy that kills Philly. 14 points in 12 games against them. Maybe you just go his straight assist or something like that to try to get that value. I don't know. I want to do something to get value and not have to go too crazy. I don't mind parlaying 2 guys to get 1 point or something like that as well. But I mean, maybe you do something like I like that Trocheck assist look that you said, or Zibanejad assist, or even I don't think you can get Panarin assist at a bettable number, but
no,
like those would be the ways I would go instead of trying to go the straight point prop, because you're not going to get really any value unless you're parlaying there. And then on the
except
Philly
for
side,
maybe Lafreniere.
Yeah, I mean he's still been pretty bettable, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. Of course, I took him one day when he didn't get one, but
he scares me a little more though. I mean, like Panarin gets it done on the power play so much that's what like really buoys him, and I don't know. But I mean, if I'm going to do anything involving Philly, I'm just going to look at unders. I mean, I don't want to for their props. I mean, I kind of want to start like looking at that, to be honest with you, because I think they are done. Like you lose that type of game, was it 9-3 to Montreal?
Yeah. Then 6-2 to Columbus the game before.
I mean, and it's one thing if it's like Caulfield and Suzuki that are just like crushing you. When you see the box score and it's like Dvorak has 2 goals, Josh Anderson scored. Like I don't know the last time he scored, probably like 4 years ago. Brendan Gallagher had 2 goals against you. I mean, it's like literally fossils that
Joel Armia,
they were like uncovered during that game. The Flyers were like, "Oh, these guys, I remember them a few years ago. They were good. Yeah, let's let them play." So I mean, those guys haven't been productive all year. Like that's pathetic. So I think they're done. You know what I mean? I think they've made their minds up and they're ready to just be done with the season and move on. And I mean, I don't know what the fate of Torts is at this point. Like a lot of people are saying that his messages weren't as welcome and stuff, but we'll see. I don't know. But yeah, Rangers are going to score like five or 6 goals in this game. So
that's the thing.
Total.
Yeah, that's the thing too. You can get Rangers and Reg at minus 130 right now.
Yeah, I'm sure they're expecting a big pushback from Philly after that game, but again, we've seen it all season. It's the weirdest thing, and I maybe I didn't notice it in previous seasons, but I don't feel like teams really have been pushing back as much when they get just completely dominated and spanked. Like I've seen it over and over this year where I've leaned heavy on the team that just got wrecked the next game, and they just put up another pitiful performance. It's almost like they are like the tank is empty and they need a full recharge, and okay, if we just lose one more game, whatever.
Yeah.
And then we're back home, and then we can push it again then.
This feels similar for the same team for the Flyers, like to that stretch right before the All-Star break. They kept losing games. They got like shellacked by Boston. They
like 7 in a row, right?
Yeah, it was a bad run, and they got that full reset. They came out of the break, recharged. They won a couple, and they looked good again. But then now it's back again where the wheels are falling off. I'm definitely more on the side of if a team's cold and they're not winning, like I have no interest in backing them. And if you're going to give me the Rangers and Reg at minus 135, I'm taking that all day.
Yeah.
And clearly, obviously, the top teams in the leagues bounce back quicker.
Yeah.
But even them, sometimes it feels like hard. They should be able to just bounce back immediately, and that just doesn't happen.
We saw it a lot with Tampa Bay this year.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that
but
was
they were
partially goalie struggling at the beginning, and Zassi probably came back earlier than they wanted him to after Johansson was the dumpster fire everybody expected him to be.
After he started off pretty hot, and you're like, well, maybe, and then you're like, no.
Pretty hot was like 3 games.
3 goals. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's what I said. He had a short trip.
And plus, I mean, honestly, like who's going to be the person to carry this team on their back? You know what I mean? Like, Couturier isn't scoring. He's got 1 goal and 6. Konechny has 1 goal and 10. Like, I don't know why I wanted them to trade him. He was as high as his value could have been last year during the trade deadline, and then again this year. And like, I understand like you need to have talented players going forward, like with this team, but like he's only going to be older. And like he's only going to get, I mean, he could get better, but how much better is he really going to get? He's not that type of player that's going to carry a team. So if you can get a great piece or pieces for him, why not trade him?
But. Yeah, no, I agree completely. All right, next game up here, we have the Caps traveling to Buffalo here. The Sabres are the favorite in this one, -135 here, over under set at 6 here. Washington comes into this game losing 6 of their last 7 here. They just picked up a big win against Detroit the other day. They are still in that second wild card spot here. As I mentioned before, the Sabres have been eliminated here. Interesting situation for the Caps here. We thought they were out kind of this wild card race. They make their way back in, and then kind of as we've gotten closer to kind of coming down the stretch here, these last 10 games, they have not been good here. These teams did meet earlier this month here where the Sabres won 6-2 here. So this is a little bit of a revenge angle for them. But I'm curious to see what you guys have to say in this one here. I'll start with you, Franco. Any looks in Washington, Buffalo?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really understand why Buffalo's favored. Like right off the bat, that's just
if I don't know if Capitals lost last game against Detroit last night, then maybe I would have felt that Buffalo could be favored and that Capitals are kind of going the same route Philly is, but that was a huge win. And if you think Ovi and team aren't going to be motivated, I mean, they looked so fired up when both Strome and him scored.
Yeah.
I mean, they had no business staying in that game, really.
And as bad as they've kind of been in the last week or so, like they haven't been very consistent overall, I'd say. They've had a lot of games that they probably should have won and haven't. But, I mean, I still think they're at this current stage of the season, like the better team. And, again, like what does Buffalo really have to play for at this point? You're looking at the golf course, you're making your tee times already because, I mean, the season's done. Why the hell are you going to come out and with extra juice against this? And especially with OV pushing for, I think of it like this, right? Like he's trying to get that record.
Yeah.
Is, any goals he scores in these next 4 games or whatever just makes next year that much easier for him if he, if he's healthy and stuff like that, obviously. But so, I mean, this is all gravy for him. And I see him just continuing to push and just carry this team. Everybody's been talking about Sid carrying the Pens, but Ovi's almost been kind of doing the same thing at like to a little lesser of a degree. But for this team, I mean, the talent isn't nearly as what it has been in years past and stuff like that. So I think their young talent's starting to show a little bit better than it has previously. But
yeah, and I mean, Strome's been fantastic for them.
Yep. Yeah.
Is he an upcoming UFA?
Good question. I don't
remember if he got 2 or 3 years, but. So that was the one thing I do think Buffalo has a little bit more to play for, though. They got a lot of kids that are still trying to impress and prove they belong and prove kind of what their ceiling can be and whatnot. And I will say, I think Buffalo has looked like the better team than Philly, Detroit, Capitals, kind of all those, Islanders. I think they've looked like the better and more consistent team over the past, month or more. It's just the beginning of the year didn't go the way they needed it to go, and kind of that midsection either. And it's just too little too late. But
yeah,
I feel like they are
slow for the
constantly
past 2 years. Yeah.
And I feel like they are still continually getting wins that you don't expect them to, or playing much tighter games than you expect. But
yeah, I agree. I mean, I think Tage really started out slow for them. And
Yeah.
I think that really,
But
and then he had the injury and he didn't
yeah,
really look right for a while either. So because he can be so dominant when he's on, and I didn't really see much of that early in the year at least. So
even
I mean, as
Tuck
far
and Skinner too, who
yeah, I mean,
had
yeah, I
decent
mean,
years
yeah.
last year, they were non-existent this
I know.
year. Like
I felt like I bet them a ton last year, and
yeah,
even
Skinner
like
was great at 2.5.
even Cousins, Paterka, you know, like they've had their flashes like recently. I feel like they've kind of picked up, but I mean, there was points last year where that line was awesome and
yeah,
hasn't done the same this year. But I mean, as far as props go, Ovechkin goal easy. Like
Yep.
I don't know why you wouldn't just take that every game going forward. Strome
Yep.
point, if it's bettable, I don't know that it will be. Maybe you just go to his assist,
which unfortunately is difficult now because he's scoring so
Yep.
much.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. I know it's tough, but like you gotta try to find that value, and
I agree.
I'm willing to risk that. I think if that's where I'm gonna go with that. A couple Sabres props do pop. I mean,
Yeah.
Thompson has a pretty damn good history, 6 goals in 8 games against them.
He's got 7 goals in his last 6 overall too.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I mean, if you do think the Sabres have some fight, some juice left, I mean that's probably where I'd look, him or Cousins. Cousins hasn't been as good the last few games, but 8 points and 9 against them. So or Paterka. I mean,
Pittsburgh
yeah. I mean,
Pittsburgh's been the lone bright prop for Sabres this year, pretty much the past
yeah.
month.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
been awesome. So, and the value's there. I don't think Washington's like shutting out anyone. Let's put it that way. So,
Well, they just did.
I know, but
Oh, kind of. I guess they
Okay.
let a goal.
Two
in.
they
one,
give a goal with like a second left or something.
That was brutal to watch them have to go to the center ice to face off again.
Yeah, it's just like forget it. Let's end this game. But yeah, I mean that's where I'd go. I mean, I'd mainly look at Washington props, look at Washington to win the game, and I think they have they at least think that they have a chance to still make the playoffs, and I think Sid and Ovi both are of that same mindset where they're both like, dude, we only have so much time left. Let's any time we can even sneak in the playoffs is worth a shot to try to get something done. So I like that.
Yeah.
I mean, the year that the Caps won, they weren't the favorite by any means.
No.
I would say the first year Pitt won, when they won back-to-back, they weren't the favorites. Maybe that second season, but so many teams struggle to do it back-to-back. So, yeah, those two guys know better than anybody that all you need to do is get in. But
we talked about it, I think, in our first episode of the season, saying Pittsburgh, while they're not going to necessarily be a contender for their division, they just have to get in.
Now, without Gensel, it looks a little bit different, but I forgot the whole idea of like maybe them trading a superstar because they're not in playoffs. But Bunting's been a good batch for them.
Yeah, that would be pretty interesting too. Who would?
And Carlson looks insane again. I mean, this is why you brought him in. And Letang him and Letang finally seem to have figured out how they can both be successful playing their games, where it felt like it probably took the entire like 3/4 of the start of the season for them to figure this out.
Yeah. So speaking of Detroit, Pittsburgh, that's our next game up on the board here. Pittsburgh -142, Detroit +120 here, over under set at 6 here. Both these teams are battling for that last wild card position here. Both tied at 84 points, 1 point behind Washington with 3 games to go. So it is an exciting finish here, at least in the East, which should be good. I mean, this game is probably going to be a must watch. I don't have a ton of props in this one here in terms of kind of looking at that angle, but it should be a great playoff style matchup between these two teams. So I'll start with you here, Betzky. One game, Crosby points has been great as of late here. I think that's kind of one of the bigger looks. You mentioned Letang assist, 7 assists in his last 7 games here. So any other looks in this one?
I mean, I'd go EK assists too.
Yeah.
Crosby shots, maybe a good look. He hasn't been the best lately, but Detroit's so leaky to centers, especially, that it's kind of hard to past that, and if I remember correctly, Crosby's pretty good against Detroit. I'll need to double check that tomorrow once I have access to the charts and whatnot. But I feel like that's bad blood since, his rookie season cup appearance against them. Larkin has been fantastic lately too, and Pittsburgh's starting to give up a lot of shots. Larkin's clearly the captain because he's literally named the captain, but clearly motivated to act like a captain and pull his team into the playoffs if he can. I think he's hit his shots on goal line in maybe 6 of the last 7 or so. Then again, Pittsburgh's kind of becoming more of an offensive first team and kind of becoming a little bit leakier. So on the shot side, I'm definitely going to lean into him. Bunting's been great. Definitely kind of that gritty role player that maybe they were hoping to get out of Riley Smith. He's kind of fit like a glove. I'm assuming his shots are going to be 2.5, which kind of scares me a little bit. But if it's 1.5, that's a great parlay piece. But his point, you're probably going to be getting at minus 120-ish or so. So against the Detroit team, who's been really struggling in net all season, yeah, give me that all day too.
At minus 144, I don't mind Pittsburgh money line in this one at all. They've been the much better team as of late here, heading into this matchup. They're coming off a tough loss against Toronto, 3-2 in OT. Detroit's been kind of limping in here. They beat the Sabres. They have another win against Tampa Bay. But you look at kind of these top teams. They lost to Florida, Carolina. They just lost to Washington, another playoff contender. They lost to Washington twice, Nashville. So I don't mind Pittsburgh at minus 144 in this matchup at all here, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this Franco as well.
Side note, I did just pull up Crosby. He's had 2+ points against them, and it looks like, oh my God, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It looks like 8 of the last 11 or so, or 7 of the last 11. His shots look really good, especially 3 looks very easy for him to eclipse. So if you want to take his alt at 3 for a parlay piece, you can feel extremely confident in that. But he has hit 4 a couple times too, kind of before he's become this like dominant shooter that he was this season on top of it. So yeah, I'll go all out on Crosby and what's going to be the most important game of the season for them up until their next game, if they win.
Yeah, you can put your money on worse players.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, like you can never count his props out. If they're trailing late or something like that, he's probably going to do something. So I agree with you there. Crosby 2 points looks fantastic. One thing I want to point out though, so Washington and Pittsburgh both have like more ins, so to speak, than Detroit does. Because Detroit's in the Atlantic, so they're kind of like they have to win that last wild card spot. They only have one chance, whereas like Pittsburgh and Washington are only 2 and 3 points back from the Islanders, who like I still don't necessarily believe in them either. So just something to kind of think about there, that there's a little bit more of a pathway for either of those teams to make it. So I like Pittsburgh money line as well. They've only really lost 1 game in their last 10. 3 of them were overtime losses, but I think this is a huge game for them. Obviously, it's a huge game for both teams, but Pittsburgh just seems to be the better team and kind of getting that magic, so to speak, right? Where Crosby has that extra juice in him that he's just carrying on team, and I want to back a team like that. That if they're down 2-1. And there's 3 minutes left, I still feel like I can win this bet regardless. Some teams you don't feel the same way about. Like I wouldn't want to have a Detroit ticket if they were losing 2-1. Let's put it that way, 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I'd much rather have a Pittsburgh ticket the other way. So I mean, Crosby 2 points, absolutely. Bunting point looks probably pretty good as well. 13 and 10 against them. And he averages almost 3 shots a game versus them as well. So the 3 shots might not be bad either, Betzky. I know you're worried about that. I mean, he's been almost averaging 5 shots a game over his last 3 games. So 4 points along that stretch as well. So it seems like everybody's kind of picking up the game around Crosby now. Like I don't think that was the case like a week ago, But now everybody else is kind of like following the lead. So I want every little piece of that kind of. I like Carlson point as well or assist. And if I'm going Detroit props, it's Perron. Obviously he's a former Penn, so there's that in his back pocket as well. But 4 points in his last 4.
David Perron was on the Penguins?
Yeah, you don't remember that? 6 goals in 7 games versus them, though. 7 points overall in those games, averaging 3.4 shots a game along those 7 games as well. So you can probably look at his shot prop as well. Bumped up to that top line with Larkin, like you said. I mean, you're never going to get value on a Larkin point, but you're certainly sure as hell going to get it on a Perron point. So probably his point, maybe sprinkle his goal, probably sprinkle his shots too. So like
his assists have been great too. He's got 5 assists his last 5.
He only has 1 assist and 7 against them. Like, I don't know if that matters.
Okay.
He has 6 goals and 7 against them. So like,
what would his point be?
I would assume his point would
plus
be
plus 110 yesterday.
That's what I'm saying. I think you would probably see like plus 100, maybe like minus 105 at worst would be my
Still not
guess.
a bad price.
Yeah, I mean, I would take his. That's what I said. I probably like just, I tend to go like less units and break out my bets a little more than others do. So like, I probably like do point mostly, shot a little bit more, and then his goal a little less than that, and kind of break it up multiple ways. But we'll see how saucy I'm feeling when tomorrow comes.
Man, I totally forgot. This is the crazy thing. I can remember him on the Penguins more so than the Ducks.
Oh, I forgot about the Ducks.
For a year. Then went to Blues for a year, and then with Vegas.
They played in Pittsburgh for a year
played
too.
in Pittsburgh for
Toronto, 2 seasons, 2 years, right? It was 14-15 and 15-16, which may have been the Cup years.
Yeah, he was there for one of the Cup seasons. I remember that for sure because he was like, he's always been like a very good playoff producer. I feel like in his career. So I remember him.
Do you remember him on Edmonton?
No, nope. I know he went to St. Louis and then he came back to St. Louis, right?
Yeah, he was drafted by St. Louis, started career in St. Louis, then went to Edmonton for 2 years.
No, I don't remember that. That's like the black hole in my mind. Those
13, 14, 14, 15. So that was like when they were in the pits too. Then went to Pittsburgh for 2 years. Then the Ducks for a season. Then the Blues for a season. Then the expansion draft. And then signed with the Blues until Detroit again. What a crazy career.
Yeah, he's been all over. I mean, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's something. All right. Any other thoughts on this one? Are you guys good to move on here?
No, this is a game I'm definitely circling though. For props, that's all adding up more. Hopefully it's not a 2-0 game.
I know, right? Like a 2-1. Yeah.
But
over
this
is
is probably
6.
the one I'm going to put a little star next to on my notes to feel like to go a little bit heavy in it. And
I think there's going to be value. There's going to be value.
Yeah.
All right. Next game up here, we have the Devils traveling to Toronto. And in this matchup here, Toronto minus 198 in this one, over set at 6.5 here. New Jersey 6 points out with 3 games remaining, all but eliminated in that wild card race here. Toronto's 3rd in the Atlantic, 3 points behind Florida in terms of seeding. I'll start with you here, Betzky, in this one. Any looks in New Jersey, Toronto here? There seems to be a few good props, despite the Devils kind of being out of things here.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to lean on the Maple Leaf side, though. So, I mean, just load up Austin Matthews' goal while we're at it, and probably sprinkle 2 goals, because why not? I mean, if he wants to hit 70, he's going to need multiple goals in one of these games.
Yep.
They just played twice, really, in the past like 2 weeks, and he had 9 shots. And did he have 2 goals against them the first time they played in Toronto and out of this like 3-game kind of series? Definitely had a goal, 1 goal and 9 shots. Sure. So give me what I'm going to start doing is doing his 4 shots and a goal
9 shots
for every game. Because why not get the extra value of at least 4 shots? Because that's easy for him to get.
Yep.
I got greedy with it yesterday, and I did 5 shots, and he had 4. So it's going to be one of those things where don't overthink that. I mean, I'd rather just do it this way and then sprinkle 2 goals for again every single game till the end of the series or season here. There's just no reason not to. Marner assist. I don't care if he's on the top line or not. I mean, he was minus 145 yesterday against Jersey, which is, not the best price, but not the worst price in the world, but another really nice parlay piece, depending on how you want to look at that. I think he's going to stay hot. I think he will be absolutely dishing it out to Matthews. And if he gets put back on the top line with him, watch out. But until he's back on the top line, Bertuzzi and Domi points feel like a must too. I mean, Bertuzzi had 2 goals against Jersey just 2 nights ago. I believe he has a decent history against them offhand. I'll need a double check on that. But I mean, I don't think I've seen his point at worse than minus 120 on this span of him playing on the top line, because he's a little inconsistent, but it seems like that is changing real quickly here. And it seems like now that they put Nylander on the 3rd and Marner on the 2nd and keeping Bertuzzi and Domi on that 1st, they're getting offense up and down that lineup. And it seems like it's really helping that top line. The mismatches seem just too difficult for teams to deal with.
Yeah, I would agree there. Completely here. Franco, any looks for you in this one?
I'm going to pretty much join Betzky with exactly what he said. The goal and 4 shots thing is like, it's auto bet. I understand you see goal props at like minus 120 for him and stuff like that. And a lot of people don't want to lay that juice on a goal scorer prop. And I get that, but like you had that 4 shots. Now it's plus money probably. So
yeah, it was 4, put it to plus 110 yesterday when his goal was minus 130.
Yeah, exactly. So there's no reason not to. I think regardless of how many he does manage to score in any of these games coming up here, like he's going to be shooting every single time to try to get them. So, and I think his teammates are going to be setting him up. So it's awesome. You gotta do 1 in the 4 shots, and then you go two goals straight. And I think, you said the Marner prop was around minus 145 for an assist. And like, I get that's at the cusp of a lot of people's juice tolerance, but for me, if I'm under 150 and I think it's a play like that where Marner is a guy that when he is with Matthews, he's like minus 200 for an assist. So you're telling me I can get him at minus 145 right now. He's still in the power play with Matthews. And
they're best friends. You know how bad he wants this too, like
exactly. And honestly, like you have him on a line with Tavares. It's not like he's playing with some scrubs or something like that. Like he could easily get an assist on his regular line. So I mean, he has great numbers against Jersey anyway, as it is. He's got 8 assists in 7 games. So like, you're gonna be minus 145. I mean, forget it. So I love both those, and I'm not touching Jersey.
I'm not either.
To me, like once you're out, and then you lose Jack Hughes on top of that. Like I understand, like everybody kind of knew that was coming at some point. He hasn't looked right for a while, and again, like that the players are people, right? So. Are you really coming out jazzed to play this game? No freaking way. And Toronto's going to have the home ice advantage as well. So it's just, no, I'm good.
Yeah. Toronto and reg minus 130.
I like that too.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah,
because Jersey, outside of Luke Hughes and Nemec and Mercer, I guess, like everybody's locked up. Everybody has their contracts. Nobody's playing their ass off because they want to impress the GM to like stick around. I mean, they're probably going to make a coaching change, so they don't even need to worry if they have a bad exit with the current coach. Like,
no, this is a big off-season reset of just get to the off-season for the Devils. It feels like, just finish up the season, stay healthy. Just let's be done with these 3 games and we'll reset, and then we'll make a playoff push again next year.
Yep, these are the teams to circle at the end of the season to just avoid from now until the end. And the thing that's always frustrating is when you don't do it early enough, because it feels like Jersey probably should have been one of those teams for like the past 2 weeks.
Yep. Just like Philly. I mean, there was value betting against Philly the last couple of weeks too. It's just you think that bounce back is coming, and it's like no, it's not. Like they're done. And another thing too is like, if you're a player, you really want to get injured, like now. You really want to like have an injury where you're not going to be able to be healthy or fresh to start next year. It's not worth it, for these guys. So close it up, fade away for these teams that are just done.
Meanwhile, I'll happily bet Sharks right now. Sharks props, give me them all day. Munch, delicious. It's got a bunch of guys that are trying to
those guys are
traded
or get traded, make the big impression.
They're
getting bigger minutes
out of the Shark Tank.
Yeah. Or because it's like Eklund, and he's like a former first round or like 12th overall, and now they put him on the first line, and now he's finally figuring it out a little bit. Or
that's a different scenario. That's a different scenario.
No, exactly. So I mean, it's funny how the real terrible teams at the beginning of the season are like unbettable, and then these like kind of good teams that kind of fell apart at the end of the season become unbettable, and the bad ones all of a sudden you get all the new props. That
look at Anaheim. Look at Anaheim last night.
Anaheim, especially,
Like they have so many young players. Again, like you said, they're getting big minutes, and they want to show that they have value for this team going forward. I think, I mean, come on.
I'm smashing Anaheim props out the gate next season. Yeah. Like there's no way they will be this bad again. I know we kind of said it this season, but injuries really fucked them up this year.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't keep McTavish for more than 20 games at a time.
He had some really nice stretches too.
I know. And Zegras being out just destroys their depth. And then they, it seemed like Killorn took a little bit of time. I can't wait.
Yeah. I mean, Killorn's been great for the last few weeks at this point. So, yeah.
I mean, speaking of a team whose props kind of have started to come alive, the Canadiens too, which we'll get to now. Montreal versus,
that transition out.
Yeah, Montreal versus the Islanders in this one here. New York's heavy favorite here at minus 218. Montreal plus 180 here. Over under set at 6 here. But I mean, another one of these teams too that every night the first click is Montreal here in terms of prompts here. Suzuki, Caulfield, Slafkovsky, Matheson assists. Like you're looking up and down the board and you're just licking your chops here. And you're like, which one can I hammer tonight here? I'll start with you here, Franco, on this one. Any other looks in Montreal, New York?
Yeah, I mean, I think you touched on a few of them right off the bat. So it's funny. There was like that stretch where Slafkovsky was, and that line in general was just tearing it up. And then all of a sudden they fell off a cliff and were unbettable. And now they're back. And I haven't gotten back on the wagon yet because I'm an idiot. I just keep seeing like, I click on the app to see the games, like I'm like, okay, let's see. It's like, only about 5 minutes into these games so far. There can't be that many. Oh, the Canadiens scored 2 already. Good thing I didn't even look at their props tonight. Idiot. So with that being said, I mean, I'm going to be looking at Slav. I like Matheson assist is always a good value. I mean, you might even be able to get his point in this game because you're playing like the Islanders who have a stingy defense. So I think you're going to get I think you're going to get some actual like even better value than you think you're going to get with us not having lines available right now. I think Matheson point might be like minus 135, minus 140, which I don't mind taking either. So yeah, I mean, I like all those props. Suzuki has a pretty damn good history against them as well. 10 points in 8 games.
How many are goals?
5. So 5 and 5 even split. He averages 3 shots a game versus them. I'm not sure how his shots have been recently. I know there was like that little stretch where he was shooting like crazy. So I might look there as well. But yeah, I mean, again, like I don't know if I believe in the Islanders right now. I know that they are in that playoff spot, but again, they're only a couple games ahead or a couple of points ahead of Pittsburgh and Washington. And I think both of those teams have a little bit more, at least in my mind, that I believe in them than I do the Islanders. But maybe I'm mixing stuff up. I guess, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, they're on a 5-game winning streak, so I guess they haven't been that bad. But I don't know.
Yeah, they're getting hot at the right time. So I have a really hard time picking the side here because of that. Because Montreal, like we all just mentioned, is one of those up and coming teams, and they're clicking right now. So you think those guys want to stop having fun? Because they look like they're having fun right now. Well, they look like they enjoy playing hockey.
Yeah,
they beat the Islanders in both their previous matchups this season.
So does that mean this
Islanders falls of regression? And
yeah, I mean, I could see that. I mean, if you look at some of the
playing as well as they are, I would say yes, but
yeah. I mean, there are a bunch of guys that have great numbers against Montreal, though. I mean, freaking Brock Nelson has 11 goals in 8 games played against them. I mean, that's ridiculous. And he averages almost 4.5 shots per game on that stretch. Dobson has 11 assists in 8 games against them. So it's not like yeah. I mean,
but that's also. I mean, how many of those 11 games was Montreal just like a bottom barrel team?
Yeah, exactly. I know,
especially with goaltending, because Montembeau's looked great.
Has been awesome, and he's had a couple stretches this year where he's looked really, really good, and then kind of gone off the edge. Like, this team has been so up and down, and
yeah,
I kind of think this team could be good in a year or two, like, or better at least than we think they will be, at least in their current state. One more Islander prop, and I'll let you go ahead, Betzky. But Paul Mary has been awesome. I don't know where the hell this is coming from, but he's been shooting a ton, so like his shot prop looks great, and he's been scoring like 3 goals in his last 3 games and an assist in that stretch as well. So 6 points and 7 against them, averages 3 shots a game against them. So I think I'll probably look at both those props. I would assume he gets over 2.5 and a nice number, and his point prop's probably going to be maybe bettable, I would think.
Yeah, Betzky, any other looks in this one here?
I mean, I'm not. You covered a lot of them, but I was thinking this last night, and I may wait one more game on this. But Suzuki assists has always been something that was hard to predict, and it's always annoyed me how his point has always been like a -200 prop, and he's not even anywhere close to being a point per game type guy. He's like a 60-point guy for the most part. So I've always felt like his point value has just been such dog shit that I've like never really consistently bet it. But now that he has not only Caulfield and Slafkovsky just going off and scoring goals, I feel a lot more confident taking his assists. Before, it was always kind of him or Caulfield or like Gallagher when Gallagher would play on the line, or, like the goal was always like distributed too much. And a lot of the time Suzuki was kind of having to pick it up, but now he's really getting to kind of play more of like a Scheifele role where he's more primarily the playmaker of that line. So that's something I'll probably ride, kind of like Trocheck that we talked about at the beginning of this, where you're getting a way inflated assist value on it. Because of what he has done in the past. But after you mentioned he's had 5 goals against the Islanders in 10 games, it kind of makes me pause for a minute. But maybe I need to just completely rework the way I'm thinking and just go for it. But yeah, you highlighted a lot of props I love here. I believe Horvat's shots against Montreal are always very good. Either way, he's been kind of Mr. Consistent. Yeah, point and shot. Lately. I mean, again, it's parlay pieces here for both of those props for him, but they've been pretty wickedly consistent all season. So yeah, Montreal get leaks to centers. So yeah, I don't mind that at all. And Horvat really seems to be liking being an Islander. He had some great quotes after beating the Rangers last night about how he's like, awesome. I know I'm supposed to hate them, right? Like, of course I hate them. Like, I think he's really kind of dug into like that kind of Islanders mindset. So
the Long Island mindset.
Yeah.
I gotta say, if we were to look at the schedule at the beginning of this season and see the 80th game, 79th game of the season, Montreal, New York Islanders, I don't think we would have been as eager as we were just talking about it. I gotta say, in terms of the amount of props we just listed off.
Yeah,
man, I'm fired up for this game. This is gonna be a good
we're
game.
talking Sharks props, Anaheim Ducks props. Like we're getting down to the end of the season now.
Yeah, but I mean, this is where you gotta find value.
You gotta zig and zag.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. All right. Speaking of 2 playoff teams here, we have Winnipeg, Dallas to close out the slate tonight here. Dallas leads the Central Division. Winnipeg's third in that division here with no shot of catching Dallas. Few props as well that pop for me. I mean, Ben Point has been pretty good as of late. Harley assist, Johnston Point. Winnipeg's even got a few guys as well here, but I'll start with you here, Betzky. Any looks for you?
It sure seems like Winnipeg's just getting ran over with shots right now. So that's definitely something I'm going to be leaning into. Dallas is a little tricky. So Robertson has not been the shot guy to lean on this season like he has in the past, where he is extremely consistent. Same as Hintz. Pavelski's been great at 1.5, but that becomes a parlay piece. But Pavelski is definitely a guy you can kind of lean into previous history and ride that. He seems to be a guy that if you see historical things against certain teams, he kind of sticks with that. So I'm definitely going to need to dig in before I feel real confident on saying which Stars player I like for shots here. But I'll be looking at like not leaving one stone unturned here because of the way Winnipeg's been allowing shots lately. I think Nashville put up almost 48 against them last night. I think Winnipeg knows they are in that spot where they're pretty much getting third in the Central, and that's it. So just kind of keep playing, keep your legs loose, but don't overdo it. Don't worry about blocking every shot that comes by you. Be ready for round one rather than, getting 2 points back or 4 points behind the second place of the Central. And it's not like they're going to fall out of a wild card spot.
Yeah, no, they're settled in that third spot, but well, maybe not. They're only 2 points behind the Avs.
Wow, I felt like
they have a game in
much
hand.
further.
No, they have a game in hand and they're 2 points back. So, yeah, could be a good one. Yeah, should be a good one tomorrow. Any other looks here?
I really like that Harley assist. You kind of took one of the ones I had circled. That you're getting a lot of value on that right now, and it feels like it took them forever to open that up because the shots have been available for a while.
Yeah.
I need to kind of look at the trends of the second line, but Wyatt, Johnston, and the third line have been much more of a road line than a home line. Both on Wyatt shots and points. I think he's in the 65% on the road, and then it drops into the 40s at home. So the road splits on that third line are really bad because Ben's getting a lot of his points on the power play when they're split up then. So generally what I've noticed, just kind of looking at the charts and trends here, is home is kind of that second line, Seguin and Duchesne, especially when Seguin's healthy. Road is when you kind of can lean in more of the Wyatt side. So I'll probably be digging in to see if Duchesne or Seguin have decent history against Winnipeg and just seeing if they're kind of currently trending. Because once they start stringing some points together, they really seem to stay hot. Now, Seguin, I know, has been kind of in and out of the lineup too. So that's something I'll probably monitor. Kind of want to lean the under here, though, in the end of this of everything I'm saying here. I think that's the way these two teams will want to play. I think this is two teams that are pretty locked into their playoff spots. I know we just found out that Winnipeg's really close to Colorado, but I think they'll all be kind of happy being in that securely in the Central area rather than potentially dropping out to a wild card spot. And I think Dallas will probably want to slow Winnipeg down. Winnipeg will probably want to kind of ease their way into what will be a bloodbath of a first round for whoever's in the third spot, second and third spot of the Central.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the goaltender situation here too, because Ottinger's usually a 2-on, 1-off type of guy, and he just started the last 2, so Wedgwood could play, and even Hellebuck's like a 3-on, 1-off guy, and he just started 3 and was Swats up. So I don't know. So, but both of their backups have been pretty good too.
That's how I feel too, and the more I think about this too, it doesn't matter if you get the second or third spot in the Central. You play each other, right?
Play each other. Yeah,
so
it's just home ice.
There's no way you're falling into a wild card spot, right? And there's no way you can take Dallas. Can Colorado take Dallas if you have it up still? I mean,
5 points out, 6
Probably
games to
not.
play. So yes, if they win 3 straight, or 5 points behind them, 3 games to play. So they have 6 points.
They have to go 3-0, and then Dallas
needs to lose
0-3.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's going to be Winnipeg and Colorado in the first round.
Yeah, Dallas plays Winnipeg, St. Louis, Seattle.
It's whoever gets home ice or not. So if you already know you're going to be playing Colorado, right? Like, are you really going to work your ass off to beat Dallas tomorrow?
I mean, isn't Colorado's home splits aren't they like pretty insane?
The elevation sucks.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. Ready? So home, Colorado's 38-1. Away, they're 19, 16, and 5. So
they need that second spot.
Yeah, every inch of it.
Yeah.
Any looks for you here, Franco, in this last one?
Well, I think I may have just talked myself into the Winnipeg Jets money line now.
Yeah,
Dallas doesn't have much, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Dallas just can't lose out.
Dallas can't lose out. Yeah, they have everything else. Well,
I've been playing well too, though. 9-1 in their last 10. Their only slip up was against Chicago of all teams.
I was at that game.
Yeah,
I lost a lot of money.
Yeah. I mean, it's not even like they played bad in that game too. You know, it would be one thing if they had 20 great shots. They had like 50 shots almost.
Yeah, they outshot them 44-17.
Actually, I had the same game parlay with shots that did well, and then all my straights were awful.
I think you're right though, Betzky. As far as props, like I'd probably go like a little light here, just because this feels like an under. I'm assuming it's gonna be 5.5 though, so like you can't even really bet that, even though 5.5 has hit in 3 straight, or under 5.5 has hit in 3 straight with this matchup. So, and 4 out of the last 6 as well. So not bad. I kind of like might feel like this is a draw type of game, right? Like if it gets late in the game, it's 2-2 or something like that. I think both these teams could be like, you know what? Like, let's just see this out to OT. Dallas can get their 1 point to essentially seal off Colorado, right? And Winnipeg will get at least their 1 point, and maybe Winnipeg wins in overtime. But I am kind of interested in that Winnipeg money line now. They've lost 3 in a row against Dallas, but again, what does Dallas really have to play for in this game?
Who else does Dallas play?
Yeah, no, I'd have to.
St. Louis and Seattle.
Yeah, so a couple of easy games. Why go full bore in this game when you just need to win one of those two,
or you just need to get it overtime in one of those two? If you lose this one in rag.
Yeah, so I mean, I think what I'll probably do is something like Jets money line sprinkle, and then like the draw,
plus 340 draw.
Yeah, like it just feels like a draw type of game.
It does.
I mean,
now wait. Our Jets going to be thinking about Saturday.
Who's Colorado?
Against Colorado. At what?
It's not a look ahead spot though either though.
They have
like this isn't like like they're playing one of the bottom tier teams. You know, like if this was against
Ducks Avalanche play Vegas the following day in Vegas.
All right, so here's what you do.
Colorado.
If Winnipeg loses this game against Dallas, they are absolutely going to win the game against Colorado, because I feel like it's a must win.
If they
Colorado could potentially be looking ahead to Vegas a little bit.
And then you take Colorado and Vegas.
Yes.
Okay.
But them on the road sucks.
I know.
And Vegas is trying to stay alive.
Or if Colorado wins against Winnipeg, then you take Vegas the next game.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I may take.
It's all very fluid.
Winnipeg and Vegas.
Yeah, I mean Colorado,
because if Colorado loses to Winnipeg, then they want the home ice bad. Oh my Lord.
Winnipeg has a game in hand.
This
Winnipeg
is
has a game
brain
in
is
hand.
a blender for, yeah.
Colorado has the Jets at home on Saturday in the afternoon, then Vegas away on Sunday in the afternoon, and then they don't play until Thursday at home against Edmonton.
Damn, that's pretty tough.
But Edmonton's, are they sitting McDavid or is he out?
He's day to day. They said that he's questionable tonight. He's a game time decision tonight, but they called somebody up or moved somebody up today. So I think it's the indication is he's probably not going to play tonight. But
you can tell by the money line. They opened at -150 and now it's down to -120.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he's playing, but I mean, I don't think they're gonna sit him the rest of the season though.
No.
He's got too much to play. I understand, like you don't want to hinge your whole season on player personal achievements and stuff like that. But he has way too many things he can achieve in these next few games for them. And they've only played 76 games, so they actually have. I mean, in theory, they could catch Vancouver. I know they're 5 points back, but they have 2 games in hand against them, and I mean they have 6 games left.
That's crazy. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like it right now, but like it in a couple of days that could all change. I don't think they're going to win tonight against Vegas, though, to be honest. But
I don't either. And Vegas wants to get that third wild card spot, so they get to play Edmonton in the playoffs.
Exactly.
Actually, man, if I was Vegas, I'd be like, wait. You mean if I stink enough, I can play Vancouver?
Yeah. But who would you rather play, though? I don't know.
Vancouver, Edmonton? What do you think?
Vancouver's deeper, though. And they have a better goaltender and a better blue line.
Maybe. I mean, if Demko's even like ready for this.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Well, luckily we'll be able to break this down. We'll be able to break this down on next week's episode, Wednesday, when we have the official matchups all set to go. But before we sign off, do you guys want to shout out your socials one last time here?
Sure.
Okay,
I'm Betzky on Twitter.
Betzky's, yeah.
I was waiting for you to go. I'm Franco the Back on Twitter.
Awesome. As always, you can find our podcast on Twitter at ExpectedBets4 and myself at Gator Betting. We appreciate everyone for listening, and we will see you guys next week with our playoff preview.